And here. Hey, what's up, y'all? It's Ernie C, the Gap Tooth Genius. This is gonna be episode 176 of Keep Grinding the podcast. We are kicking off the basketball editions of the pod, something I really wanted to do, and couldn't think of two better individuals to join me on the opening debut of the basketball editions. We have Coach AJ Shearon, defending Valley champion, entering his eighth season as the head coach of the North High Stars, and Garrett Brown. He is going to be entering his seventh season with the Bakersfield Christian Eagles. Gentlemen, both of you guys start November 19th, North High at Kern Valley, November 18th at Centennial in Corona, California. Are you guys ready for another great season?
Yeah, I think pretty comparable opponents for Coach Brown and myself there. No, Coach Brown, BCHS, their schedule is another level this year. I think arguably probably the toughest schedule in the section or one of. So that's a huge test. Corona Centennial probably be what top 20 in the state, Coach Brown, to start the year.
Yeah, and I think they're a Southern Section Open team this year.
Hmm.
A slightly different opponent than Kern Valley. But but yeah, no, we wanna we're ready to go test ourselves and find out where we're at. But try to do that every year. Give us a tough schedule, so that way when we come to state playoffs time and Valley playoffs, that it's nothing that we haven't seen already. So that's the goal. But like AJ said, I think this is probably the toughest schedule that I've put together in my 7 years. So we're probably going to take our lumps early, but if we can just come together as a team and fight through that, and then rebound come January, I think we'll be ready come playoff time.
And Coach Brown, we'll start with you, sir. What are you looking forward to this season?
Um, just looking forward to the continued development of Taiwu. He's really coming into his own, just becoming one of the better bigs on the West Coast. He's starting to garner a lot of attention. He's put in the work. He's our hardest worker. He's in the gym probably 3 times a day. Seth does a really good job. He's in there with him every morning and every night outside of practice. So he puts in a lot of work. So it's going to be fun to showcase his abilities this year. And, because 2 years ago, he wasn't very good when he first got here.
Hmm.
So just being able to showcase his level of talent is going to be fun. And then replacing our two guards is obviously not going to be easy. The senior guard leadership and with Gabe and Drew, but just
Definitely.
watching the maturation of our younger guards and seeing how they progress throughout the year is going to be vital to our success down the stretch. So that's what I'm looking forward to the most.
And Coach Sharon, you're coming back to back Valley Championship, sir. What's the biggest thing? What are you looking forward to this season? What's the biggest challenge that you foresee this year?
Yeah, we lost four starters and five of our top seven from last year's team. So definitely some new blood out on the floor for us. Really looking forward to watching our young guys develop through the course of the year. It's really cool. Selfishly, my son is a sophomore now. He'll be up on the varsity team, so that'll be cool just to go through the battles, go through the grind with him. But I love our group. We've been together, been playing, been lifting, been doing everything we can since March. So it doesn't feel like it's so much the start of a new season as much as it's just continuation of a lot of work already. But we're just really excited to get going, get that routine back, that daily discipline of practice or games or film or whatever that may be, and kind of just get back to it.
This is a question for both of you guys. I just thought about these questions too. Again, one, thank you guys for coming on. I know we used to shoot the shit all the time, but just to have you guys on and just I respect you guys as coaches and just as friends, and it's been a long time. It's time flies, bro. With year eight for AJ, year seven for GB, what keeps you guys motivated going into these seasons?
Um, that's a great question. Me and Coach Brown are real close. I mean, we're on like year 22, I think,
Definitely,
of knowing each other,
definitely.
being family, and we talk a lot about this question. And I don't think either of us has a straight answer. I know Coach Brown wants to get his son, who's going to be in high school before we know it. And I obviously enjoy coaching my son, but it gets harder and harder as we get older, as our families get older. Our kids are growing, they have other interests, activities, obviously our spouses. It's a big commitment. So I think for me, what we're trying to do this year as a staff is just kind of rediscover a lot of that joy that got us into coaching. That's been a challenge for us, the grind of, obviously it's great winning at a high level, but when your season is going, although, and I know Coach Brown had this also with the state playoff run last year, like your season almost never stops. And so there's that pressure and that necessity to stay in the lab, to stay working. And luckily both of us have really good staffs where we have assistant coaches that we feel as they're not, assistants, they're peers to us, and they can take a lot of that work. But I think there's just a level of competition that you get in the game that you can't get anywhere else. And I think at the end of the day, it's hard to pass on that. And I think for me, at least, it keeps me motivated.
How about you, GB?
What kind of a lot of what AJ said is spot on. But when you're successful the way that we've been successful, and I'm not, down talking to anybody else or just trying to pump us up, but it's just reality. When you're playing in a March every year and you want to be good, you're not taking too much time off after that. Like
Definitely.
like our season ended like March 12th. I think I didn't do anything until May 1st. But my assistants were back in with our players that next week, right? And so if you want to be really good at what you're doing, and you're having long postseasons and long runs, it makes the grind of all this really difficult, and to continue to find your motivation as you go. And AJ touched on it. My son's an eighth grader. He's the motivation right now to keep doing this.
Mm-hmm.
Also, just working where I work at juvenile hall, and then also working at Bakersfield Christian, just trying to help as many kids in my community as I possibly can. That's always been the goal. But right now, definitely my son is the reason for me to continue coaching at this time. Obviously I love it. I love giving back. I love coaching the game I love, but it's a grind. It's a physical, mental grind, and it'll wear you down, and you got to find different things that motivate you throughout the season and throughout the off season to keep you going. So that's really it. And then, obviously wanting to win, right? Like no one, like we're not in this to lose, right? Like obviously we do this for the right reasons. It's not all about winning, but winning will drive you. Winning will drive you to be the best that you can be, because essentially that's what your name is on at the end of the day. And so, but yeah, just being around my son and just trying to coach basketball is going to be fun the next 4 years.
What's the biggest lesson you guys learned from your years last year? I know, like you said, being successful is always great, but I know there's always a lesson we could take from every year, because everything's not going to always be perfect. What would you guys say would be the biggest lesson you guys learned through your year last year?
I'll take this one first. So
Yeah.
just when things are going well and things are going bad, it's not the end of the world,
Hmm.
and everything is going to continue tomorrow no matter what. We faced a ton of adversity as a program last year, and I faced a ton of adversity personally, and having to be able to fight through those things and navigate through those things was very difficult, especially in the the time where I'm needed the most, right? And
Definitely.
being able to navigate through those things and know that, yeah, I'm going through it right now, but my guys are depending on me, and I'm being depended on to be there. And no matter what, like I got to show up. So just knowing that it's not always going to be perfect, but how you respond to adversity shows your true character of who you really are.
Definitely.
Yeah, I think we really discovered as a program that the winning wasn't going to sustain us, just in terms of why we do this, why we show up every day. We were able to be successful last year, on the court and off the court in a lot of ways, with I think the highest team GPA we've ever had, and those sorts of things. But um, same thing, a lot of adversity, and winning doesn't cure everything, and you have to find something in addition to that. And so I think we really leaned into this group that's coming back, really poured into them, off the court and on the court, but really off the court to build something bigger than on court success with this group. Because I think anytime you have an extended period of success, you can get very transactional and get lost in the results. And I think we did that. So I think that's a focus for us this year, is to be above the results a little bit, and lean into our work and our process, and try and do a better job of enjoying these times and these steps, not just the wins.
We're talking about adversity. I know all three of us have gone through some adversity the last couple of years. Did you guys ever think basketball would be the way that we kind of not overcome it, but just kind of be a crutch in our life where we have something that's a constant? I know we have our wives and our family, but did you guys ever think that you use basketball just to stay locked in, and no matter what adversity that life goes, just personal laws and things like that? Again, like we all experienced the last couple of years. Did you ever think basketball would be that crutch for you guys to just stay strong and just stay motivated for your programs?
Um, I know for me, I always knew it would be a crutch for me personally. I was lucky enough when I coached in college, like the game literally took me around the world. I've been to many European countries and seen things I never thought I would see, all because of the game. And I think a lot of ways, when my mom passed a couple of years ago, I think the concept of basketball saving my life was really put into action. And so I think I knew that for me, it was always going to be an important part of my life. But I don't think now that I'm older and have been coaching, this is year 21 for me overall. Just seeing, I got two former players on staff. Coach Brown, we were on staff together. Wes at BHS, we were on staff together. A lot. DJ Fiella at Stockdale played for me. So just kind of those connections and the level of impact that the game has had on my life, just who my friends are, what I do, what my son does. I don't think I ever could have seen that. It's a pretty comprehensive thing, and I think luckily it's been pretty positive in my life, through its duration.
Definitely. How about you, GB?
Uh, Basketball is my sanctuary. It's what I do for fun, and it's at this point in my life, it's my what helps my mental health. Just considering, the lifestyle that me and my wife have created for our family. I married a former athlete, and we have a bunch of athlete children that are going to practices and going to games out of town. And, we both work in law enforcement, so we're super busy with that. And then once we're done with that, we got to take our kids to their stuff. And then my alone time is at the gym with my team. And that's what really keeps me level headed, and keeps my brain going, always thinking of ways that we can get better. But just being in the gym is something I've done my whole life, being a coach's kid and just
Definitely.
growing up around it. And, now my son's doing it. And, it's just, it's always been a part of my life. And I can't imagine it not being a part of my life, and like he said, our moms passed relatively close in time a couple years ago. And, if I didn't have basketball, man, it was those were tough times, right? And dealing with something like that is not fun. And then walking into practice, some days you're feeling great, and other days you walk into practice and you've been grieving all day, right? And the last place you want to be is there, and you walk in and your eyes are red, you got tears and all this other stuff, and then your players come up and give you a hug and want to talk to you and tell you that you're okay, and then you start breaking down. And but just that's another motivating factor is always being part of a team. Being part of a team is one of the funnest things I've ever been a part of my whole life. And just from high school all the way up to college and everything like that, like that team camaraderie, that bond that you build with each other when you're in the foxhole going to war, is something that can't be matched any other way, in my opinion. So, just basketball is just it's just always been a part of life and been a part of me, and it will continue probably till the day I die.
And I love that we talked about this because, just from being at Foothills still, even though we're talking about BC earlier, me and AJ, but still being on campus and being part of that growth program. And you see some kids who are kind of going through this loss of peers at such a young age, and I think just as young kids who don't have that, grasp their emotions, and the first thing is do is, oh, I need to quit basketball. I need to stop doing this. It's like, no, I'm glad we could talk about this, where they could see, like, no, this is an outlet for you. This is, like GB said, a sanctuary where you don't have to be alone. You can be a part of a team, and you kind of just, this is you lock in, and this is your escape. And I know I experienced that in different ways too. And no, it's a beautiful game, man. I'm glad you guys talked on that, because I think some kids really need to see that we all use it as an outlet. You know what I mean? And we all use it as a way to get away from the real world and our real life problems. Just a few more questions, you guys. That I was thinking about. What's the most important thing you guys want from your players to take with them, whether it's in life or the next level in college during their time playing basketball for you?
For us right now, the biggest focus that we have is improving our mental toughness. Just there's going to be ups, there's going to be downs, kind of like we've been talking about, but just being mentally tough and trusting your process and trusting your work, and not being so result driven, is really important. So just got to be mentally tougher. Like you can't next possession, next play mentality. I know that sounds like coach speak, but that's just really what it is. Like if don't perform the way you're supposed to, on a possession, like don't pout about it, get your ass back on defense.
Definitely.
Just being more mentally tough and being able to withstand and understanding that you're not going to be perfect, you're going to make mistakes, and how you respond to those mistakes is everything, especially at the next level when you got coaches that are putting, making 250,000 and up for
Mm.
their job, and that's their job on the line, and if you're not mentally tough, like they're not going to trust you and put you on the floor. It's just not going to happen. So if you want to play at this next level and make money with NIL and all those other things, like you better be mentally tough and go through what you need to go through.
Definitely. How about you, Coach Shearon?
We have like a list of program isms or sayings that we say all the time. And I think the one that is probably most relevant for our kids is doesn't matter, get better. And I think the reality is our kids are faced with a lot of adversity before they ever get to us. And then when they do get to us, we try and create a really adversarial environment with, in terms of, practice and scheduling and those sorts of things, just to try and, show them that nobody cares. Like nobody, like we play San Joaquin Memorial in November. Like no one cares that you won back-to-back section titles when you walk out and face those guys.
Definitely.
And just like in life, no one's gonna cry for you because things don't go your way for a while. Like you have to get better. You have to keep your head down. You have to keep working. So I think we try and be intentional about that and putting our guys into adversary and seeing how they react and then trying to coach them through that so that when they face that real life adversity, they hopefully have some skills and some tools to get through those things.
And one last question for you guys, man. How do you guys make your practices embody the likeness and competitiveness of a game? I know that's something that I talked to a few coaches about. They're, just making our players play, you know, being competitive and playing like it's the game.
I think that's a good question because I think, I've been to a lot of Coach Brown's practices. He's been to mine. We've practiced together. And I think we practice differently. I think like the first thing I would tell like young coaches is that you can't copy anyone else's practice because everyone's team is different.
Mhm.
And one of my like favorite things that my first mentor coach told me was you're either coaching it or allowing it. So anything that your kids do, you're either coaching them to do it or you're allowing them to do it. And so I don't think it matters as much like what drills you run. how you split the teams, a lot of the stuff that young coaches get infatuated with. It's really just more about how you choose to spend your time as a group together. I think there has to be a level of accountability, but there also has to be a level of fun. And I think us, for sure, we got away from that a little bit last year and became too focused on the workmanship of practice and got away from the joy of it. So I think it's like an ever changing thing. I think if you have the same practice plan every year you coach, then you're probably not a very good coach. You have to meet your kids where they're at. You have to meet your personnel where you're at, and really be more invested in the quality of time you're spending, rather than what drills you're doing every day.
That's a freaking great answer, bro. GB, how about you, sir?
Uh, yeah, I mean, we have certain things that we do every day that we've done since I started. But being able to adapt to your personnel and what you have is important, and understanding what you're good at, and also understanding what you need to work on, what you're not up to par with the other years, right? So we've always been a really good team scoring in transition. That's always been a very easy thing for us. Um, and now having two brand new guards with the ball in their hands and having to make decisions in the open court, we have not been a very good team in transition. We're executing at a high level in the half court. So
Mm-hmm.
just understanding like what you need to get better at, and implementing different drills to get better at the things that you might have never had to practice before, because you have guards that know how to play in the open floor and know how to make decisions and all those things. Like, having a guard makes things a lot easier for you. And so implementing two new ones this year, we're doing a lot of different drills in transition, just trying to make it to where, hey, if you get caught on the wing with the ball, just look for the 6'9" dude that's running down the middle of the lane, right?
Right.
And then
Definitely.
if you don't have the angle, then create one or find someone else that does have the angle, right? So I think once we get used to understanding that our big fella has arrived, and now he's going to catch the ball and he's going to finish and he's going to make good decisions down there. Now it's like, okay, now we have something that no one else really has, and let's bring the ball up the side of the floor and not down the middle of the floor, and let's look for the guy that's running down the middle. And if we get him the ball, then it makes our job that much easier going forward. So just finding new ways to make it game like, and also make sure that we continue to get better at the things that we're not very good at. Because there was once a time in May and June where we were horrific, and we have come a long ways. We've beaten some really good teams in the summer and the fall, and we've competed. And I think that we are figuring out what this group is best at and what we need to continue to work on to get to where they've all talked about where they want to be when they were freshmen. So um, it's about that time.
And AJ, just if you wanted to plug in, it's gonna be the Lloyd Williams tournament soon at North High. Is that correct?
Yeah, so December 10th through 13th,
Right around the corner.
we have the Lloyd Williams tournament. All the best teams in town are going to be there, except for BCHS. Coach
I was
Brown,
gonna say, GB, you're not gonna be in the building
yeah,
this
Coach
year?
Brown big timed us this year.
Damn, man.
So it be your own ones, as they say. No,
That
it's
wasn't that
a
wasn't a setup, JB. I promise that wasn't a setup.
no, it's a tournament we're really proud of. I think we're in the 72nd year, maybe, of the tournament.
Awesome.
It's been going on forever. We're really proud of it. We try and do a good job, showcasing our facilities, putting on a good tournament. Sanger from up north is going to be there. Porterville from out of the area. Um, we think that Bakersfield High School and Wes's group are going to be there. They'll be one of the pre-tournament favorites. Centennial is going to be there as well. I think pretty much a lot of the quality teams in town, with the exception of Coach Brown's group and probably South. Kind of everybody else that should be near the top of town should be in attendance. So we're excited about that. We think we are going to have a good product, so we want people to come out and watch the local hoopers.
For sure. GB, what game do you have circled on your schedule, sir? that you're really
Um,
looking forward to?
I have a lot of them, to be honest with you. We're just we have three events that we're hosting this year that I'm looking forward to. We've never hosted events since I've been at BCHS, so finally being able to do those is going to be good for our group. We normally don't ever have any home games, so we have
Mhm.
11 this year. That's by far the most we've ever had, and we'll
Awesome.
have 15. We'll have 15 next year, so that's also good. But we're hoping to. We're hosting a tip-off classic on November 22nd. That will be really good basketball for the community to come out, and then we are hosting a tournament slash showcase December 4th through the 6th. The premise of it is NorCal versus SoCal. You meet in the middle in Bakersfield. So we have three really good SoCal teams and three really good NorCal teams coming to Bakersfield, and we'll just play NorCal versus SoCal matchups on Thursday, Friday, Saturday. So that'll be really high level basketball. And so we're excited to bring that to Bakersfield. And then we have a MLK showcase on January 19th, where we play Mesa from Arizona, and they have the number one point guard in the 2028 class on their team that was Max Prep's freshman of the year last year. So being able to bring high level teams to Bakersfield to play us, it's been a
Big
long
time.
time coming, but I feel like we've done enough traveling. We've made a name for ourselves. We've won at a high level for 6 years, and now people are recognizing that we're putting a good product on the floor. And so it's been tough to get people who want to come to Bakersfield, but now I just got to make sure that these events are top notch and ran the right way, so that way people want to return, and then word of mouth gets out around LA and NorCal, and people want to new people want to be involved. So just proud of that we get to host some things, and then also happy to be at home because we're tough to beat at home, and then also I get to spend more time with my family.
No, for sure, man. Well, gentlemen, that's episode 176. I'm honored to have both of you kick off this basketball edition. I've been, I try to do this every year, but it's nice to have both of you on. GB, great lob. He was like, "Why don't you get AJ on?" I'm like, "Will you pull you guys at the same time? Let's do it." Really honored to have you guys, man, and I'm looking forward to watching all your teams play and keeping in touch with you guys. And I'm always rooting for you guys, 100%.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Appreciate it, bro.
Rooting for you too, bro.
I'm trying, dog. I'm trying to keep grinding, and that's gonna be episode 176. Keep grinding, and we out.